Dave Jones, the NBC guy. Welcome to the Prepper Camp
Hey,
Speaker Series, man. Thanks for joining me.
well, sure. Great to be here.
No
And
doubt
great to
about
be
it.
at prepper camp. I can't wait.
2025, man. Having missed
Yeah.
last year and not hung out with everybody, it is
Oh,
old
I'll tell
sore.
you what you missed last year was trauma. That's what you missed. It was, man, how do I describe it? I haven't seen destruction like that since I left Baghdad.
Oof.
Okay. Yeah. And, the destruction in a war zone is explainable. The destruction in a disaster area is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Uh, and
There's no
and
enemy.
prepper camp was this island, this oasis of calm
It's
in
not
the
the first
middle
time,
of.
right?
Yeah, it's not the first time. We had no idea, the people there at prepper camp, because we couldn't get any information in and out. The only information we were getting was from people arriving to prepper camp, and they were describing
The
just pure
scene,
hell.
the
Just
scene
And we're
outside.
like, how could it be that bad? You know, but we didn't
Yeah,
know until we left the total destruction.
sure.
And
Because the
I
camp
was
didn't
the
look that bad. I watched the camp. I watched the
no.
water rise from the camp from you guys. You guys were sending me videos. I watched the water go up. I watched the little river come running down the side, and
Yep.
and I watched Doug in the in the overnight hammock, his
Yeah.
video and all that kind of stuff.
And they
But
only
yeah,
had one tree fall down,
I know it's amazing, right? It is
one
crazy.
tree in the whole camp. Now, Tent City was kind of a wash, but
Yeah,
uh, you know, they took it as best they could, and we thought, heck, when I got up, I told my cousin, I said, "Hey, let's run to Walmart. I need some hooks."
yeah,
We
sure,
couldn't get out.
right,
There's three roads out. All three were blocked, and I mean blocked with trees, power lines,
right.
uh, mud.
We always
It
talked about that though. We always every year at prepper camp we talk about like if we had to survive, this would be the place to do it. You know
Oh
what I
yeah,
mean? If something went
yeah,
down during prepper camp, we'd be in good hands. And you guys collectively had the stuff to
yep,
handle
yeah.
to get out. You know what I mean? And
I,
to get to safety.
yep.
So
And every time I got a hold of Maria, she said, come home now." I said, "Honey, I got water, I got food, I got shelter, I got everything I need here.
right,
If I
storms pass.
start, yeah, I don't know what I'll have on the outside." So
Once the helicopter lands, I'm on my way.
yeah,
So what
it
are you teaching this year, Dave Jones? What are
oh
you
the
bringing to prepper camp?
standby nuclear, biological, chemical warfare.
Everybody
Um,
needs to see it. Everybody
yeah,
needs to see it. It is a prepper camp must if you haven't seen it. It really is.
thanks. Well,
Especially if you
I'm
know nothing. Like when I first saw your class all those years ago, I didn't really know much of anything about actual nuclear weapons and what could happen and all that. And you will walk out a brand new person. It's a
oh,
great class.
thanks. Yeah, I'm teaching that, and of course, I always update it every year. Who knows what we'll be able to talk about in September? With
Yeah.
sleeper cells, and you know, has our intel ever been wrong? Uh, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you remember how they did South Korea, or I'm sorry, North Korea, the intel agency said, "Oh no, North Korea does not have a bomb." Boom. Well,
Yeah.
it's not that big of a bomb. It went
Right.
like that. And then every time they came up with a new thing, North Korea, oh, they can't launch from a missile. They have, I think, two payloads in orbit right now. So it's like they're they're wrong more times than they're
Yeah.
not wrong.
That's a scary
So
thing.
yeah. So does Iran have a nuclear weapon? I don't know.
I'll tell you what, if I had a nuclear weapon, I would definitely have it underground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where I would have kept it. So I don't know if they, who knows? There's just, there's so much. I mean, they have a legitimate military. We're going to do a show after this and really dig
Yeah,
into all of that.
I got some info. that you have never heard anywhere else
Oh,
before.
snap. I can't
So,
wait, man.
because I used
So,
to work for the Nuclear Weapons Command for the Air Force, Global Strike
oh,
Command.
right.
Yeah. And I know a little something about nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
and and
Understatement of the year.
well, they're, you know, where they're at, where they're stored, and what components we have extra of, just in
Yeah,
case.
I
Yeah.
got you. So it's nuclear, biological, chemical this year. Are you doing
Yep.
one? Did you get lucky enough to do one class? Or are you doing seven?
Well, yeah. One year I did three, and boy, that was awesome. That was exhausting. That
That
was
was
just
a, I seen you. I could tell. I
crazy.
said, man, if
I
I could
was in
sub for
class.
Dave right now, I'd
Yeah,
sub for him.
I was in a class more than I was at the booth. But I'm bringing the warden. So if anybody
Okay.
wants, yeah, if anybody wants to meet her,
Yeah, come get an autograph from the warden.
the Dave Jones control rod, the woman that keeps me from going nuclear. uh, come to prepper camp. She's planning on getting a whole bunch of tinctures together and stuff you can't find anywhere else. I'll tell you.
Great soap.
Um,
You guys do
yeah,
that great goat
yep.
milk
She
soap,
might
man.
even
That
bring a
stuff's
little
amazing.
soap. We have some soap.
That's some good
She makes
stuff.
goat milk soap. That's what we're
Yeah,
talking about.
it's
Yeah.
phenomenal. No doubt about it. All right,
She
great.
made,
So nuclear,
yep.
biological, chemical. Got to see that one, man. That's a huge one. Why don't you give us the 5,000 foot view on? I know probably
Oh
most
yeah,
people know the NBC guy who know PBN, but if they don't, how the
yeah,
hell did you wind up with the NBC guy name? And then we're not talking about the news agency, you know?
yeah, yeah. Well, 24 years in the active army, and when the army had their birthday, I figured it up, and I had spent 29 years all total, almost 30 years. Yeah, because I spent some time in the reserve, and that equals 11% of the almost 12% of the entire time the army's been existent. So
Wow,
it was a big part of my life
you're a
for a
ten
long time.
percenter. That's
Yeah,
impressive.
thanks. And
Dang.
then nuclear, biological, chemical warfare was the field I was in. And when 9/11 happened, I was recalled to active duty, and I spent 2 years in the Middle East, traveling to 16 different countries and teaching nuclear, biological, chemical warfare. Yeah. and doing vulnerability assessments on U.S. interests. So, in my civilian life, I was emergency management, and I did that at Pennsylvania Emergency Management, uh, NASA, Air Force Global Strike Command, and Department of Homeland Security at a place called Mount Weather. So then I retired, and now I'm a history teacher.
Hey, you're a good man for the job. What's your
Uh,
quote? You've lived most of it, so you
I've
can
lived
teach it.
most of it. That's why they said, "Oh, he could teach history." Uh, yeah,
Yeah,
seriously, when we got in American history, when we got to the assassination of Kennedy, I was in first grade, and I remember it vividly
I bet.
because our teacher, one of the teachers, came into our room and whispered something into our teacher's ear, and
Oh,
she started crying, and we're sitting there like, "Holy cow, our teacher's crying! What is up?" And
yeah.
then all of a sudden, the principal sent us home, and this was Somerset, Pennsylvania, okay, and we only got off for uh, snow, and it
Yeah,
was not
sure.
snowing, and we didn't know what was going on. It's the first time I remember seeing the flags at half staff.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah,
What a
yeah,
different time, man. My dad said the same thing. My dad said when they announced it at his school, and
yeah.
he was what year was it? 60 what?
63 or 64, I can't
Okay,
remember.
so
I should remember. I'm a history teacher.
he would have been 13. He would have been
Yeah,
13, and he said that all the girls in the class cried. They all
yeah,
started crying. And I think about that compared to nowadays, like not even just Trump, but any president. If a president was assassinated, I don't think anybody would cry. You know what I mean? They'd be like, "Oh God,
Yeah.
this is terrible," but it wouldn't be like, it's such a different world back then. But
Well,
so,
Kennedy was really loved by both sides.
yeah,
I mean,
no,
he was,
I understand. I just think it was
yeah,
a different nation, different
yep,
sensibilities, different moral compass. The whole thing, different level of
absolutely.
exposure to things. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? But
yep.
speaking of great memories, man, why don't you give us some of your favorite prepper camp memories slash stories, things that you have enjoyed about it over the past years? Because you've been
Well,
there many years.
yeah, yep. I think all but the first three, I think. And I could have been at the first one the very first time, and I just couldn't justify making the drive.
Yeah,
Memories every time we get together. So the campfires, those always have memories.
yeah, the campfires
One
are
time
good
you
stuff.
fell into the campfire.
Yeah. That was a great year though, man. That was an
Yeah,
amazing. That probably was my favorite year thus far because we had the
yeah,
whole of PBN there. We were all at a
yeah,
picnic table doing a big giant show with almost every host on the network, and it was
yeah.
crazy. Yeah, that was. But now I'm interrupting.
No, no, that was an awesome. I mean, Two Man Tim was there.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
great.
I think we had everyone but
Carl B and the Patriot Power Hour
Car
guys, and Dane D.
and
I
Dane
think
D.
those were
That
the
was
only
it.
guys that weren't there. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that was a great
So
year,
those are great. I like getting to talk with bands, okay? Because we'll I remember talking to someone at my booth, and a lady was walking by and she says, "I know that voice.
man. Oh yeah,
I go to
oh
sleep with you every night." And I'm like,
yeah.
"What?"
You got me confused, man.
So, yeah, Marie
Yeah.
is not the only one that falls asleep at my voice.
Oh, jeez, man. The other
Yeah.
thing that we haven't talked about on these that are really great memories, and I haven't mentioned them because the guests I've had on haven't been PBN related. But the tinfoil hat contest, man,
Oh, yeah, that's
that
big.
always yields some amazing stuff. It really does every single year. I can't wait to see what people come up with this year. You know,
Yep.
we've had just well, the one year we had a little girl who was all clad in she looked like a Martian from the 1950s or something like that. She was almost
Yeah.
completely covered. Her dress, her hair was done with tinfoil. She even had a tinfoil hat on her bearded dragon that she was carrying around with her. It was unbelievable.
Well, and you should explain to the listeners how the tinfoil hat came about because it's a PBN sponsored
Yeah.
event, and
Yep.
it's turned into this thing that every year at prepper camp the award is given away uh, Saturday night, and it's a big deal.
Basically, we were doing a live show. You were probably on it too, Dave. And it was a
Hmm.
round table on a Monday night. And Jay Fergie sent me a picture of a tinfoil hat that was built in the style of a Kentucky Derby hat. And it was really
Yeah,
cool looking. And
yeah,
that from that moment on, we were just kind of like, we should do a tinfoil hat contest. And then, I mean, this will be year 4, I think, of the tinfoil hat contest. And, us being preppers and all, it just fits. It's a good time.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
good time.
Because hey, if you're gonna have conspiracy theory, let's lean into it. Let's
Yeah,
do
let's
it.
have some fun. Let's
Yeah,
definitely have ourselves some fun, you
yep.
know? So what are you looking forward to this year, man? What's the big thing that you're looking forward to most at Prepper Camp
Well, I always look forward.
2025?
Yeah, I always look forward to us getting together. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's the best.
and prepper camp is a place where you can go and talk freely and you don't have to explain yourself. Okay.
That is nice. Yeah.
Everybody gets it. And they, you, it's just a wow. It's exhilarating and exhausting all at the same time. And
Sure.
as soon as it's over, you say, man, I can't wait till next year.
Yeah.
Except
It
for
is
last
like
year.
that.
Last year was like, oh boy.
Let me get home and get shower. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It is like that. I always go home with like a big list too every year. Every year I go home with a
Yep.
list of things. I got to fix this, do that, change this. It's one of those things. And you know, if I'm in that position, just imagine how the average person who shows up, you know,
Uh, yeah.
what they walk away with, because it's tremendous. And
Yep.
one thing to note, folks, is we have you got till June 30th to get that 25% off tickets. You're running out of time on that. Prepper Camp 2025 will be September 26th, 27th, and 28th. So get it on the calendar, get them tickets purchased, get your sleeping arrangements set up. You know, Dave Jones only has so much room in that tent he brings. Oh, actually, you know what? The tent's not even
Yeah.
an option anymore. You got to curl up in the trailer with you,
Hobbit
right?
hut. Yeah. Yeah.
The
Uh,
Hobbit, like that.
well, it works for me. I could put a cot in the back of there. I have a small cargo trailer, and
Yeah,
now it is not outfitted at all, but I outfit it just for prepper camp. I've threatened to put actual beds and stuff in there, and Maria says, "No, don't mess it up. We got a haul feed and all that kind of stuff in there." So I just
that
left it
is
that
true.
way. And yeah,
It'd be tough to put the piglets in.
yeah,
They'd
yeah.
be bunked up
We
by the time you get
we
them home.
have transported livestock. I may put a vent in it though. I
That's a
I,
good
I
idea.
have a vent, and
That's a
I
good
I may
idea.
put a vent. Yeah.
Solar vent.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be good sleeping. You never know. The good thing
Yeah.
is prepper camp does follow a little bit of a pattern. It seems like we get a rainy year and then we get a beautiful year. So I'm banking on the fact that this year is probably going to be real nice down there by the
Yeah.
lake. And hey, what more could you ask for?
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. It's a feeling like you'll get nowhere else, and it's an event that is unparalleled in the prepper sphere or just about anywhere. So we
Yeah,
take over a campground, and there's, what did he say, 60? Yeah, do that, scan that thing,
yeah,
because tickets only go up. And if they don't sell them at the door, you have to purchase them ahead of time.
yep,
uh, Rick also goes through and pre-screens people. Some people in the past have tried to buy tickets, and they were coming to interview people, and I
yeah.
don't know,
No
make
media,
fun.
no media
No
at prepper
media,
camp
no media, unless you,
unless you count us.
us, us. We're about it. We have a prepper camp exclusive.
Right.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah. Well, all right, Dave Jones. I can't wait, man. I
me
can't
too.
wait. It's going to be a blast as it is every year. We'll be doing our shows, we'll be doing our hanging out business, and God
Yep.
only knows what else. So,
And in my class, I tell you how to survive a nuclear, biological, chemical attack with just the stuff you have in your own home right now. How
yes,
survivable it is, what you should do immediately following an attack, and how to take care of your family.
it's an essential, man. If you're going, you have to see Dave's class. It's a must. All right, my man.
Thanks.
Let's get on to the next one. All right.
Okie doke.
See you, folks. Get them tickets. Scan the QR
Yep.
code above, and I'll see you at Prepper Camp 2020.